Welcome back to Full Court Femmes. No hype, all hoops.
We're coming off a gritty Big East home win, turning the page toward a family affair in Cincinnati, with history very much hovering over this one.
Because Saturday night isn't just St. John's at Xavier. It's Rick Pitino sitting one win away from 900, walking into a building coached by his son with zero expectation of courtesy.
That number doesn't change how the game is played, though, but it absolutely changes the pressure around it. Every possession matters a little more. Every mistake gets louder.
So if you're joining us just for the vibes, you're lost.
But if you're here for film, numbers, and what actually matters before the ball goes up,
you're in the right place. Because Saturday night in Cincinnati isn't just another Big East road game. It's St. John's. It's Xavier. And it is Rick Pitino coaching against his son, Richard Pitino.
This Pitino versus Pitino thing actually feels like Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger.
And appropriately so, Caroline, because I am here in California filming today. And just yesterday, I was sitting at Russian River Brewing Company, drinking a little Pliny the Elder and talking about the Younger.
The Elder is about legacy and volume. Build it, pressure it, keep going.
The Younger is about timing and adaptation. Same lineage, different moment.
That's this game.
Absolutely it is. Same bloodline, different test. And whether it's beer or basketball, the point remains the same. Lineage matters, but results matter more.
So let's leave the metaphor and get back to the film. Let's start with what just happened against Seton Hall. Final score, St. John's Red Storm 65, Seton Hall 60.
This was St. John's fifth straight win in the Big East. And if you watched this game and thought, wow, this is ugly, and it is collision basketball, just like Full Court Femmes said, well, congratulations. You now understand Big East basketball.
It was ugly, Erin, especially the beginning of that second half when Seton Hall ripped off an 11-0 run. The building was silent. This was a 60-possession game. According to ESPN's game flow data, both teams spent long stretches under 0.9 points per possession.
It was hard to watch. That stat means this wasn't about shot making. It was about who cracked first. And it signaled highly inefficient offense for both teams for a better part of this game.
This is likely the reason Annie's call on the score landed the way it did.
I think you might be right. So let's just get this on the record for now. Annie called the score 80-66 with St. John's as a win.
Actual score, 65-60. Lower total, tighter finish, but the shape of the game was right.
And it's still a win. St. John's controlled the pace after they got themselves together. They dictated physicality and won the math late.
Seton Hall came in as one of the most physically aggressive teams in the league. Top tier in offensive rebounding, above average free throw attempts. And St. John's said no.
Yeah, they did. So let's talk about the guys we highlighted in our preview. A.J. Staten McCray led Seton Hall in usage again. Post-game stats had him touching the ball on nearly 1/3 of their half-court possessions.
But here's the key, Erin. He delivered volume without efficiency. Contested pull-ups, crowded drives, very few clean paint touches.
And then there's Najai Hines. He brought energy and second-jump athleticism, but St. John's neutralized him on the glass.
We did see Stephon Payne jump in with 15 rebounds, fighting Ejiofor, Hopkins, and Prey as the big guy inside. He limited Ejiofor and Prey to 4 rebounds and Hopkins to 8.
And according to NCAA box data, Seton Hall generated fewer second-chance points than their average on the season.
That matters because Seton Hall needs extra possessions to survive low-efficiency games.
And if you were watching the game, it looked like they were actually getting a lot of second-chance options, but it didn't fall. And for St. John's, what that meant was this wasn't a highlight win. It wasn't outstanding defense or outstanding offense, but it was a habit win.
St. John's held Seton Hall under their season field goal percentage, forced them into late clock attempts, and this matters, they didn't foul at a reckless rate.
No, they stayed vertical and they trusted help. And you know, Caroline, it wasn't the traditional help. The reality is that we saw help coming off the bench, with Ruben Prey having one of his strongest games and quite literally one of his most scrappy games when we saw Zuby actually have to sit for a while with those fouls. The key here is that St. John's finished their possessions.
In fact, St. John's allowed only one made field goal in the final 4 minutes of the game.
Thank goodness, because finally they're showing grown-up defense at the end.
No scrambling, no panic fouls, just possessions ending the way they want them to.
And when a game closes like that, it's time for you and I to do what we always do, Caroline.
Put the takes on the board.
Yes! Okay, let's judge ourselves. It's time for us to see exactly how we did with our bold predictions in the preview.
Bold prediction number 1, St. John's attempts at least 22 free throws.
Not only did they attempt them, they didn't just get there, they created it and cleared it comfortably.
Yes, they did. They had 33 free throw attempts on the night.
And that's not whistle hunting, that's pressure. They forced rotations, got defenders off balance, and lived at the line.
21 makes in a low-scoring game matter when you're shooting 70% and your opponent is shooting 55%.
Oh, thank God, because that's how you win when shots aren't falling. On to bold prediction number 2. Seton Hall shoots under 42% from the field.
Bold. Seton Hall finished the night with 37.9% from the field against St. John's.
And the stat matches the eye test. Most of their shots were contested twos or late clock jumpers with absolutely no rhythm.
St. John's didn't just defend. They took away the clean looks and didn't let Seton Hall get comfortable.
And when you hold a Big East offense under 38%, that is a bold defensive statement.
Okay, bold prediction number 3. St. John's records more offensive rebounds than Seton Hall.
Bold! This one is a hit. Now, total rebounds were even at 41 apiece, but St. John's won where it actually mattered the most, 20 offensive rebounds to Seton Hall's 18.
That's not cosmetic, Erin. That's extra possessions in a 5-point game.
And it tracks with what St. John's put on their own recap. They ripped down 13 offensive rebounds in the second half alone during the comeback.
So yeah, Seton Hall's usually the bully on the glass. St. John's took that identity and used it against them.
On to bold prediction number 4. Seton Hall commits 15 or more turnovers.
Busted. They didn't get there. They landed at 13, and that was intentional.
It was. St. John's pressure was about containment. It wasn't about gambling.
They forced tough shots instead of forcing steals, and that choice paid off late.
Truth be told, Seton Hall was more aggressively attacking the hands of St. John's in the first half. It made all of us a little concerned, to be honest. And this is why this actual prediction did not land as a hit, in my opinion. Okay, on to bold prediction number 5, the last one. St. John's wins the final 4 minutes by 6 or more.
Bold. We are 4 or 5 with these predictions today. Honestly, this prediction, Erin, was the game.
Yes, it was, actually. St. John's controlled the final stretch with better shot selection, cleaner possessions, and stops on demand.
Execution wins games, period.
And now the standard is getting raised.
Because that level of composure, it doesn't get easier on the road.
Especially not when you're headed into Cincinnati, which I think you know a little bit about, Caroline. Few family members might have gone to school there.
I do. So against the Xavier Musketeers, a team coached by Rick Pitino's son, Richard Pitino, and on a night where Rick Pitino can write his name in the history books alongside some of the great basketball coaches.
With his 899th win against Seton Hall, he ties Bobby Knight for 4th all-time in on-court victories, making win number 900 even more significant.
Yes, but this isn't sentimental. This is competitive.
It certainly is because, as we know, Rick Pitino doesn't coach for moments. He coaches for leverage. So let's see how this one plays out against his son.
In Big East play, Xavier has been volatile. According to the NCAA splits, they're significantly better at home, particularly offensively.
Yes, and they rely on dribble penetration and kickouts. And their three-point percentage swings wildly based on early rhythm.
Defensively, their struggle guarding multiple actions. Ball movement hurts them.
And when Xavier's offense has hit its stride, like in their 89-75 win over Butler, it's because a couple of players have carried momentum.
So let's highlight the guys St. John's has to contain if they want to slow the machine down.
All right, first up is Trey Carroll. He has been the go-to bucket for Xavier this season, averaging about 16.7 points per game, leading the team just simply outright.
And last night and against Providence last week, he had 29 points in each one of those games. So he's somebody to look out for. And in the Butler game, he didn't just score. He rebounded hard and blocked shots in transition, turning defensive stops into transition offense.
So St. John's job is simple. Keep Carroll out of the paint. When he gets downhill or catches at the elbow, Xavier's offense breathes. Bump him off his post early, force a reset, and make everything harder than they want it to be.
And then there's Philippe Benson. He's the classic do a little bit of everything guy. He's right there on the stat sheet. Nearly 8 rebounds a night, assists in the mix, His hands show up all over the court.
I'm so glad you had to say his name. All right, that matters because he isn't just a scoring alternative. He's facilitating the flow. When he gets touches in the high post or rolls to the rim, that's where Xavier's spacing earns clean looks on the perimeter.
St. John's just can't bury their heads in ball-stopping defense. They have to contest for Benson and be ready to rotate. If he's left open on a closeout, Xavier starts getting clean threes.
Now you're playing catch up on the road.
And that's how a game turns into attrition.
So if St. John's wants to walk out of Cincinnati with this one, the blueprint, I don't have to say the name, but I can't say the word, is clearly different than Seton Hall.
Key number 1, Erin, guard the paint without collapsing.
Contain dribble penetration, but don't overhelp. Xavier wants 2 on the ball. St. John's has to trust their first defender and stay home on shooters. Key number 2, win the first 8 minutes.
Xavier feeds off early rhythm at home. Quiet the building early, force a couple of empty possessions, and make them play from a neutral emotional state. Erin, that Seton center gets loud, and they stand until the first basket is made. It's a crazy place to play.
All right. Key number 3, make
For
go ahead, say it. Decision maker,
not a finisher.
Crowd his catches. Take away clean looks and force him to put the ball on the floor. Rotations have to be early and connected. Key number 4, attack matchups before the defense is set, or defense, whichever one you choose.
This isn't a grinded out game. Push after makes, push after misses, and score before Xavier can load to the ball. Key number 5, stay organized through the run.
The run is coming. We know it. On the road, it always does. The key isn't stopping it. It's responding without losing structure.
Those are the habits. That's the structure. That's how St. John's gives itself a chance to control this game in Cincinnati.
But structure only matters if you're willing to put it on the record.
Because at some point, you stop talking theory.
And you start making calls.
So let's do it.
It's time for Bold or Busted. Okay, bold prediction number 1. St. John's holds Xavier under 12 made free throws. That's not a lot.
This one's about discipline, not pressure.
And against Butler and Providence, Xavier lived at the line during key stretches.
Creighton took that away by staying vertical and forcing finishes through bodies.
If St. John's defends the same way, no reaching, no bailout fouls, this one hits.
All right, bold prediction number 2. Xavier scores fewer than 10 points in transition.
This fits exactly how Xavier's been winning lately.
Their best runs have come off live ball turnovers and long rebounds.
St. John's half-court defense travels.
The question is whether they eliminate the easy ones, and we think they do.
All right, so bold prediction number 3. St. John's scores more points in the paint than Xavier.
This one's simple.
Yes, it is, because if St. John's wins that stat, then this prediction clearly hits.
And it fits their identity. Drives, cuts, second chances. That's how they want to score.
If Xavier wins the paint instead, God forbid, then something broke structurally for St. John's.
Bold prediction number 4. Xavier commits at least 6 offensive fouls.
All right, Creighton showed the blueprint. Set defenders, early walls, let aggression turn reckless.
And with the Pitino versus Pitino pressure layered in,
those drives get forced early.
Bold prediction number 5. St. John's has fewer than 10 turnovers.
This is the composure check, Caroline.
Road game. Hostile building that Cintas center. Pitino versus Pitino. A milestone hovering.
If St. John's keeps their turnovers under 10, it tells you everything you need to know about this game.
It means they valued possessions, didn't rush decisions, and didn't let emotions speed them up.
And what happens, Caroline, if that number creeps up?
Then Xavier's getting runouts, momentum, and life.
So this one's simple. Under 10 turnovers, and the prediction hits.
Before we go any further, we need to reset something.
Yes, we do, because for the last few episodes, we've been talking about Annie.
Reviewing the calls, checking the margins, giving credit where it's due.
And frankly, Annie has earned her seat at the table with us.
So tonight's a little different. Annie isn't a segment we reference.
No, she's not. She's here in person right with us.
No advance notes, no post-game cleanup.
Just the call on the record in real time.
Which means when we get to Annie calls the score right now,
she's not hiding behind the graphic.
She's sitting right here.
All right, Annie. Road game, Cincinnati. We laid it out. It's Pitino versus Pitino. Win number 900 hovering. What do you see?
Hi, everyone. So great to be here with you. I see a game that's uncomfortable early and controlled late.
Really? Like uncomfortable how? Is it crowd? Is it pace? Is it both? What is it, Annie?
Erin, it is both. Xavier is going to get a real push from that building early. They always do at home. You'll see an initial run built on energy, maybe a quick three, maybe a transition bucket off a long rebound.
So the question becomes whether St. John's tries to punch back or stay patient.
Exactly, Caroline. And I think that's where this team has grown. They don't need to win the first 5 minutes. They need to survive them.
And that patience shows up where?
It shows up in shot selection and spacing. They don't force early clock looks. They don't overhelp defensively, and they don't turn live balls into runouts.
Which is what Creighton did to Xavier.
That's right. Over the course of the game, St. John's depth and physicality start to matter. They force tougher finishes, they get to the line, and they cut off Xavier's transition oxygen. So by the time we get late, it's a possession game. And that's where St. John's has been better. Cleaner decisions, better shot quality, fewer self-inflicted mistakes.
All right, put it on the board.
Here we go. It's time for St. John's to have a larger spread against middle-of-the-pack competitors. So I've got St. John's 81, Xavier 72 earned on the road.
Wow, 81-72. That's a road win with a really good margin.
And that's a call built on composure, not firework.
Written in history, Pitino wins number 900 against Pitino.
When this one wraps in Cincinnati, there's no pause.
Because next up is Butler Bulldogs at Madison Square Garden on January 28th.
Butler comes in right in the middle of the Big East pack, competitive, physical, and very aware that games like this are how you move up the table.
You know, they're not flashy, but they are organized. They defend, they rebound, and they've been tough to put away when games slow down.
Which makes it a perfect contrast game after a road test like Xavier.
All right, so handle business on the road, and suddenly MSG becomes an opportunity, not a pressure point.
We'll have you covered on that one, start to finish.
Yes, we will. But first, make sure you're subscribed to Full Court Femmes on Apple Podcasts, not Apple, Spotify, or YouTube.
No hypes, all hoops.
Let's
Let's
go,
go,
Johnny!